Hey, welcome to the Powerbombshells show. I'm Mel, and next to me in the picture here is Sam. And we are a brand new show that is, what did we say? Two
Two
broads.
broads talking about wrestling.
Yeah.
And not just women's wrestling, the wrestling we like.
Exactly. The wrestling we watch, the wrestling we like, the wrestling that we are already watching, which, if you're like us, is a lot right now.
Definitely.
And we're going to do our pre-show preview for Revolution to start off today as our big special topic. But first, I realized, Sam, that you and I don't know each other very well
We
either.
don't.
And we haven't had a whole lot of time to sit down and just be like, that's happening. It's coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I need no one else to nerd out with wrestling.
Exactly. Yes.
So
for sure.
I figured that we should do a little getting to know each other.
Okay.
And I figured it would be hilarious for everyone to watch us getting to know each other.
Yes.
I used to work with youth and people and team building exercises and the getting to know you stuff, and it's really funny to watch adults do it too. And wrestling is a perfect venue for it.
Oh, absolutely, so. Yeah, perfect for this.
So, what do you think? You wanna get going on this?
Yeah, let's do this. And if people like it, maybe we'll do this more often and just get to know each other on air, and then our viewers can get to know us at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. And if, later on we start to get really boring, you can maybe just ask us questions too. Nothing appropriate questions.
Yeah,
I think that we should clarify before we get going crazy here. But so yeah, let's do this. Let's ask each other some basic questions.
All right.
And this one was mine because it was the first thing that jumped into my head, because I have a bunch of nerd friends who do this. What is your favorite wrestling move?
What is my favorite wrestling move? There's a few. I would say one of my just favorite moves that I've always loved is I love the frog splash. I think it's cool. Obviously Eddie Guerrero had a great one. Rob Van Dam is definitely somebody who comes to mind when I hear frog splash. So I've always enjoyed that. I know this is probably cliche, but I love a good destroyer. I don't care. I don't care. Maybe part of it was because when I was watching certain things, I didn't see the destroyer as much. And so now I'm like, give it to me. I don't care. I know I'm probably 10 years behind everybody else when it comes to the destroyer, but I love a good destroyer. And I love when Dustin Rhodes does them. A Dustin destroyer, fantastic, especially because he's so tall and he's so big. Like, you wouldn't think that somebody like him could pull off a destroyer, and he does every time. So I love his destroyers. What else? Probably I was trying to think of what my favorite finisher is, and I probably would have to say the one-winged angel. Nice. I love that move. It's very
That's
fluid.
What I like about you. You have the question and then you're like sub-question. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're gonna get along, but we could get on. It's like, this is only an hour show. Oh,
I know. Yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. I think my favorite finisher, I would have to say, was just the one-winged angel. I love it. It's just when it's done, when nobody's gonna fight out of it. It's just so smooth, and it's just. I just love it. So I'm ready for Kenny to come back so I can see some more one-winged angels.
Oh my God. Kenny coming back is, I want him to be healthy.
Absolutely.
We'll end up saying this all the time. Like, I want him to be healthy, and I want him to be the best Kenny he can be. And so take all the time you need.
Exactly. Do not rush back.
Like, oh dear. Because we're always going to be excited if it was tomorrow or in, at All In. Which, yes, please. It will never. And I think some destroyers may have been overdone, and I think people talking about them. I think a well-placed, it's like Okada's dropkick. It's like, it's a dropkick. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I jump off my couch a lot.
Okada's dropkick is just a thing of beauty. He's so, I don't know. And I don't even say he's so good at it because it's such a basic move, but just when Okada does it, it's just, there's something completely different. So yeah, I completely get that.
It's timing and it's execute. It's like where
I was gonna say the precision,
and it's when it's never, and he just makes it look so ridiculously easy. And he is a very tall, athletic guy. And it's like, again, like Dustin, you shouldn't be able to do that and make it look that easy.
And it's every time he does it. Like, it's not just every once in a while but every time he goes for the drop kick, it's flawless and it looks perfect every single time. Like,
it looks like he could literally hit like a mark on my nose or something with the like very tips of his toes or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Marking out about Okada is something I could do for hours. So let's
you and me both.
let me move on before this whole show is just called Mella and Sam mark out about Okada.
Yeah. That's a future episode. We'll dedicate a whole hour to that.
Just a whole hour to how awesome Okada is.
Yeah.
I know there's at least a few people who would be there for it.
Yeah. I do too.
Yeah. And Tanahashi's hair, maybe. I mean,
yes. Tana with good hair.
I digress. Okay. So it's my turn, and I have to get this in here because it's like no contest suplex.
Ooh.
And I'm good with OG classic German, like the New Japan German. Like, I love that that's like, here's the first like 5 moves you get to learn, kids, or 4 things that you get to learn. And that's like right in the beginning stuff. And I don't care. It's like Kenny has his Snapdragon.
Yes. Snapdragon suplex.
He makes that look, I mean, it's like, you should stop that.
It looks so violent when he does it, but it's just the way the quickness in which he does it, and just
again,
good
presentation, execution. But I love all of them. It's like Manami Toyota. One of my friends just like will send me suplexes because he knows that I like them sometimes, and it's just like, great. Oh, here's one for you. And I was like, okay, what about variations? I'm like, there's almost none. Like, if it's a well-executed variation on it, there's so many just good ones. And I do like classic. I like classic ones. Classic German. It's amazing how excited you can get for something so simple.
People, feel free to send us gifs and clips on Twitter of suplexes and things. We will watch them, and we'll probably we'll retweet them too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, or anything, or you know, or a destroyer.
Send me all the destroyers. I don't care. I don't care if you think they're overrated. Send them to me. I'm gonna watch them.
Good destroyers, bad destroyers. We're gonna have a timeline full of suplexes and destroyers.
We're just gonna have like Okada Day, where it's just Okada missile drop kicks, and
I'm here for it.
One winged angels. You're gonna have fun. You guys you're gonna have all kinds of gifts on our Twitter. Apparently it's just gonna be a bunch of moves.
That's okay. I mean, Twitter should be fun for everyone, and I think that gifs and memes
I love them.
Good stuff. Only the good stuff on there. So let's see. Should we go to the next question?
Probably, or we're going to be here for another hour.
This is, you know what? This is what people are here for, is to hear us talk about this.
That is true.
If we have to carry it over, we're going to have future episodes. We always need something to talk about.
Very true.
All right. So the second one is, who was your first favorite wrestler?
So I watched wrestling as a young kid. I don't remember a whole lot of it for whatever reason, but I do remember that I was really into Big Boss Man. I just thought he looked really cool. I don't know if he just kind of reminded me of my dad a little bit, because my dad is a bigger guy and he was in the military. So I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know. I thought he looked really cool. And I don't really and it's weird because I was young, so I don't really remember his matches or anything like that. I just remember. And then my cousin was like, do you remember we would walk down the grocery store aisles and we would be like, we were like Big Boss Man, and we would so apparently, which I do vaguely remember that. And so Big Boss Man, I do have fond memories of. And then I guess when I really got back into wrestling when I was 13, I was really into, and I know we decided we're going to have this conversation once we know each other better. But I was really into Kevin Nash. And the Wolfpack, because we'll get to the Wolfpack and NWO stuff. Yeah,
we'll get deeper. But that's okay. You can tease the future bigger in the weeds conversation. I was just like, okay, but we can't get too far in the weeds, or we're gonna end up never getting to the weeds.
Yeah, exactly. So this will be a future episode. But yeah, so when I got back into wrestling when I was 13, Kevin Nash was my favorite, and I loved him so much. So yes, like we'll be very excited to talk about him more in the future episode.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, really.
All right, so mine was actually Undertaker.
Nice.
And it's, I mean, zombie, necromancer, wizard. I mean, and it's cool. Like over the years, like I got to see him at WrestleMania 19 in Seattle, and he was, the American Badass, and that was like the Rollin' song was like, I just remember that year, like the only song I could not get that song out of my head because it was used for everything from Rumble to Mania, and we were living in town, and there was, I mean, oh my gosh, that I couldn't get that song out of my head for like another 6 or 8 months, but it was like, okay, everywhere. But he could do that all the time, but I still classic, like, Paul Bear.
The whole, and it goes back to the whole presentation of everything.
I love that guy. And big dude. I mean, I was like, I was like, oh, I love Andre the Giant. And that was like in my time frame. And of course, Hulk Hogan, because that was like a big thing during the time that I was.
Sure.
I mean, that's some of the first stuff I remember on the grocery store, like in the grocery line.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, Trump and whatever girl and Hulk Hogan everywhere. And then it was like, and my dad was the biggest Rocky fan in the world. So it's like, there he is again. And it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but for me, it was like, no, guys, there's like this zombie dude over here. And he like pulls guys out of ambulances and beats the crap out of them. And it's in the crowd. Cause that was back when they would still do in the crowd stuff.
Yeah.
When it was still cool. And I don't know. That was what really, I was like, this is amazing. I just remember like, I could only really get it on TV because my mom was like, oh, you can't watch that.
Yeah, my mom
was like, okay.
Mom's the same way.
Except if you go in another room where the cable is at your grandparents' house and you have a whole TV and a whole bedroom to yourself and nobody's checking on you for hours and it's Saturday night. You're like, I am watching this right now. No one's going to check on me. No one cares. They think I'm in here reading. I read a lot, so it worked out perfectly. It's like, there you go. I'm going to go to bed early and read.
Read with the television.
Right. But I mean, that was like sort of the dose I got. I was a sports kid, so I didn't get a lot of like, and my parents, again, were not watchers of this sort of thing. My dad was a sports guy, but it was very much that stuff is fake in my house. And I'm like,
my dad has always been kind of like a casual watcher. I hate the casual viewer term, but like he would, I mean, there was a time obviously when like it was The Rock and Stone Cold. So like we were watching like every single week, but like he wasn't really and like now he doesn't, like he tries to check in here and there and he doesn't keep up with it, and my mom doesn't understand. She was like, I can tell you're very passionate about it and you love it and I'm glad for you, but I don't get it. She was like, it's just violence and I don't like it. And I'm like, but that's what makes it great.
But it's choreographed violence with a storytelling purpose, and when it's done properly, and then you're like, I'm gonna walk away now.
Yeah, that's why I don't even try to explain anymore.
Well, and then I have the people in my family members, the extended family, who are like, they're housewives watchers. They're, and that's, I watch every version of Real Housewives. Why do you watch that crap? It's fake. And it's like, right. So my thing is fake.
My thing's fake. Not scripted at all.
No, that stuff is reality. I'm like,
I bet you all the doctors on Grey's Anatomy are actually doctors.
Doctors. Right.
All of them.
And I bet you if I met the people that do my entertainment, they would be nice to me. Actually, I have experience with that. I'm watching.
Me too.
I had to wear my Keith Lee shirt because I'm very excited for him right now. And this is like one of the first indie shows I ever went to. And it was right before he had like just signed, and he was finishing up with Evolve, and we like stood and talked to him, and he is the sweetest dude ever. And I'm just like,
seems like it.
And then I have a friend who actually met Okada, and he's like, meet your heroes. Meet them.
I met Okada at All In. I paid for the meet and greet thing. And we didn't, which was awesome, but obviously there were so many people in there that you didn't really get time to interact. It was kind of just like a greeting and a photo, and that was it. But still good enough for me. sister and I were extremely excited about that. And I have a picture. I'll have to, I guess I'll have to maybe throw it up on the Powerbombshells Twitter. But it's a picture of me and my sister and him. So yeah, I was like, when we saw that, I was like, if anybody that we're meeting, I did meet Punk because I had to do that too. But Okada was high on our list. We're like, if we don't meet anybody else, it's got to be Okada because we don't know because obviously we didn't know where this was leading. So we were like, this might be our only chance ever to meet Okada. So we got to make it happen. But yeah, so that was very cool. It was a very quick process, but it was still worth it.
I'm so jealous right now. It's ridiculous. Someday, yes. Everything is going to get real. I mean, it's reorienting right now. And all right. Okay. Let's get to the next one so we can get to our preview. All right. Okay. What do you like besides wrestling?
Oh, well, a lot of things, surprisingly, even though my 90% of my time seems like it's consumed with keeping up with wrestling.
It's true.
But if the lockout continues, then I'm going to have plenty of time to watch wrestling because I don't know that baseball is going to happen this year.
I saw that you were tweeting about baseball. Yeah. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, so I'm a really big Braves fan, and we won the World Series last year, so the longer there's no season, the longer we're champions. That's the positive I'm trying to take away from this whole thing. But yeah, so I've been a baseball fan since I was about the same time that I got back. I mean, I watched a little bit when I was a kid, but then I got back into it the same time that I got back into wrestling. And so and it was funny because the Braves won the World Series in 1995. I didn't start watching until 96. So last year was the first time that I got to see them win the World Series. So that was a very cool thing. And so, yeah, and I do watch football. I'm a Panthers fan. They're terrible, but I still love them. They're probably going to be terrible for the next 7 years, but you know, I'm still trugging along with them. So outside of sports, I really love music. I'm like not in a band or anything like that. I listen to music a lot. I've always done that. I was in band in junior. Well, I was in band actually from 6th grade all the way up until 9th grade. And then I was in chorus from 8th grade all the way up until I graduated from high school. So music is definitely a big thing, especially getting away from and I do like a lot of how music and wrestling, I think the perfect, somebody can find the perfect entrance music. I think, and I think this conversation has actually come up on Twitter recently, is Swerve using Ain't Nobody, and how that's such a big iconic thing. And then he's introducing a lot of younger fans to somebody like Shaka Khan, who obviously is a huge icon. But, and so I think that, so things like that. So I really like when I think Mikey Ruckus does a phenomenal job of coming up with themes.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
I do too.
I love seeing what's cool about artists like that is that they don't just promote their own stuff.
Yeah,
they are promoting other people, and they're encouraging other people to learn the business of the thing and to be creative. And I think that that's the kind of changes that are happening, whether it's wrestling or music or whatever else, that are really going to help us in the next phase of living. Sure. And I mean, the internet can enable that in a positive way. Yeah, so I just love that.
Yeah. And I like one of the things I really like is how when he does the behind the scenes stuff of how he puts a a theme song together, and he'll be like, this is the basic part, and then I added this layer, and then and then he talks about how he works directly with the talent to find songs that fit them and something that they are proud of and want to come out to. So I think that's really cool that he shows that process of, and it seems like these wrestlers really trust him to, I mean, he puts out banger after banger, so I don't know how you couldn't trust him, because that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask, and I was like, we'd be here all day if we talked about favorite entrance songs.
Well, we can do that. I mean, we're going to need topics sometimes, and I think it'd be with us to do times where there's there's things that are kind of big, and I think a music an entrance thing, I know that we'll go through phases on certain threads where it's just post your favorite entrance, and and it's not as simple as posting your favorite one. It's this is why this one's my favorite one for this time in my life. And so it's we sometimes get into whole okay, Mount Rushmore, and it's my Mount Rushmore or the Mount Rushmore. And it's okay,
I never participate in the Mount Rushmore conversations because I never know who I'll put it, because it would be a different. I mean, because there's so many different time frames, like it's just hard to, and like because of like when I got into watching it versus like when people who like watched, other people before I did, and so I think so that's a conversation that I don't ever join in. I'll read the responses, and it's almost always the same people, but I'm like, I can't. I was like, I'm not getting into this conversation because I really don't know the answer myself. Maybe that's a question I'll try to answer on here one day.
There you go.
Maybe I'll figure it out. But
what's your favorite from 1981 to 1982?
Right, exactly.
I also enjoy football, just as a little segue into my ex. And I'm a Seahawks fan because I've lived all over the country, and that was the first team I saw live. It was the first team I ever got to be a season ticket holder for.
Nice.
Go Hawks. I got to see some really fun and some not so fun times in the history. We moved from the West Coast 2 years before they won their first Super Bowl, so we missed the parade. We missed the whole. Oh man, it was like, of course. I was like, I guess to get them to finally win a Super Bowl, all it took was us leaving town. So, but I can't let go. I can't. They're my team. I like listen, like when I listen to streaming radio, that like sports streaming radio, that's my thing. And I love. We have a very good organized. I work in the back office.
I say we too.
I know it is what it is. But I love being a part of the community, and I'm living in the Detroit metro area, and they came to town, and it was like, screw this, we're going to a game, and we're just going to see what it's like. And not that this is difficult, sorry Lions fans who are out there. I mean, it is what it is, guys, but it was definitely a Seahawks crowd up in that place. It was so great, and I got way closer. Exactly. Like I got so much closer to the players and the people that were sitting anywhere than I ever would have gotten at home. Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's an atmosphere that's unbeatable. That is why you go to sporting events. Right. But this was cool too. And it's indoor, and we got to hang out and chat with Seahawks fans. And that's never cool. It's kind of like wrestling fans. Is like, anytime it's like, well, what do we have in common? Wrestling, cool. Let's just sit here and talk about Black and White versus Wolfpack.
Yes.
You'll get your answer, but you're gonna have to stick around for later.
A long time for that.
All right. So I think that we should probably move on and get to the actual wrestling stuff. Okay. And look at me. So you are a Terminus fan, and you watched the Terminus show, and I realized I didn't know anything about Terminus, and instead of like Googling it and stuff, I figured let Sam tell me a little bit about Terminus.
So Terminus just had its second show this past Thursday. The first show was last month. The co-founders are Jonathan Gresham and Baron Black. Baron Black, if you watch Dark and Elevation, you're probably familiar with him. If you watch some BTE stuff, or actually no, it was Sammy's vlog when they were doing the Nightmare Factory they were doing a competition. They're doing a competition for a Nightmare Factory jacket, and then in the end, they all ended up getting it. But Baron Black was part of it, and so I didn't realize he and Jonathan have been friends for like 16 or 17 years or something like that, and they apparently had always kind of wanted to do a show where they don't call them wrestlers; they're all grapplers. No matter what their gender is, they are grapplers. It's a lot of, so they do focus mostly on like pure type things and technical wrestling. But the two shows have been really good. So this one that was this past Thursday, they brought in Chris Sabin, who is one of my favorite wrestlers. I love Motor City Machine Guns. So they brought him in. Yes. So they brought him in for this show. They also had Trey Lamar, Leon Ruff, and Kenny Alfonso were in a match together, and that crowd was very pro Leon Ruff. And he's great. I love Leon. I loved because I saw him in Evolve a little bit before he went to NXT.
That's what I know him from. So.
Yeah, and so he's fantastic, and so he was really good. So that was the opening match. Was they brought Chris Sabin out very first match. So yeah. And then they did have 2 women's matches. They had Queen Aminata versus Killa Kate, and they have both, I think Killa Kate has been on some AEW programming, but Queen Aminata definitely has. Her match at Terminus was really, really good. It's more, and obviously because it's longer, we get to see more of what they can do versus, a darker and elevation. So,
right.
I was very impressed with both. And then the other women's match was Serena Deeb versus Liza Hall. Liza Hall I had never seen before, and she was supposed to be on the first show, but I can't remember if it was an injury or travel. I think it was travel restrictions because it was snowing the last time. And side note about that is Josh Alexander was on the first show, and he couldn't fly because all the flights were getting canceled. So he got in his car and drove 14 hours to make it to that show. Like, that's how important, because he was like, this show seems like it's a really big deal. It's something I want to be a part of. He's like, I had to be here. And of course he put on an excellent match. So he was, he was originally supposed to be on this show, but obviously, his US visa has expired. And so hopefully, he'll get that straightened out and can come back to wrestling just in America in general. But yeah, so Liza, for whatever reason, she didn't make it to the first show, and someone had described her as the female Zack Sabre Jr. So I was very intrigued by her. I did see a little bit of that last night. I think that, Serena Deeb was definitely the perfect opponent for her, for that style of wrestling. They went a full 15 minutes and there was no winner. So they got an additional 90 seconds, and then Serena Deeb did win. So it was nice to see Serena get a really long win after, she's doing these 5-minute challenges on TV. So it was nice to kind of see her back in that type of thing. So that was probably one of the best matches of the night. It was excellent. And then Swerve was on this show. He was originally supposed to face Leo Rush, but Leo injured his shoulder. So they got Davey Richards to come in. And Davey, I've seen at my local promotion, I've seen him the last few months. He's come in and he's still got it, as they like to chant. But yeah, so his match with Swerve was really good. Swerve actually posted his entrance video on Twitter, and I had quote tweeted it and said that I let it play 5 times because I did, because I had to listen to the intro, and he retweeted it. And then somebody responded and sent me the video from in the crowd where he recorded it. Nice. And I just think it's him singing along or somebody near him. And it was really cool. So you can tell that people are really into Swerve and really excited about him. And Swerve happened to tweet yesterday that maybe it was time to move on from Ain't Nobody. So I don't know if it's because
I saw that tweet too after you had mentioned it. I was like, okay.
So I don't know if it's because they're not going to be able to get the rights to it, and maybe he's going to have to go with a Mikey Ruckus type thing, or maybe he's just trying to see what people would respond to
how he gets a response. All right.
So maybe he's just,
is this going to be an Okada and pants deal, or are people going to be open to the fact that maybe it's time for me to do the next thing?
No, I don't. Yeah, you can't go the Okada and pants route with this. We can't have Okada in here. So I was like,
it's pretty bad when you have a moment where you literally pop during the show for somebody coming out in trunks versus pants.
That was incredible, because I was watching it live on Twitter and my timeline was just full of Okada long boys.
All right, sorry. Yeah, so, Okada Swerve. I'm going backwards.
Yeah. So anyway,
let's go back to Swerve, because I actually am really glad to see him in a place like the whole thing with him going to WWE kind of just happened because it was I was sort of out of it. Like I've been pretty far removed from their promotion for such a long time that I didn't realize I'm like, who is Isaiah Swerve Scott? And I'm like, oh, it's Shane Strickland. I've seen this guy wrestle like a million times. He comes like every time we have a show.
Yeah.
I've hung out with the guy, like cleaned up chairs.
Yeah, I talked to him right before he came. He did my local promotion, and then I think he got signed like a few months later. And so, but I got to talk to him for a few minutes, and he's super nice and he's wonderful. And we were telling him, like, if you can come back, and he's like, well, and so I think he kind of already knew that he was getting ready to sign, because he signed like maybe 2 months later, if that. And so, but so he's fantastic. So it's great to see him doing stuff on the indies. I know I heard last night that he wrestled in Defy. He wrestled Nick Gage, not Nick Gage, Nick Wayne, who is the 16-year-old. Yeah, Nick Wayne is the 16-year-old that Tony Khan just signed.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard how the match went. I'm sure it went great because it's Swerve. But so Swerve is busy doing something, so it's nice to see him back on the indies doing his thing and being Swerve. and just he's so freaking charismatic, and he's wonderful. Let's see what else was on there. So Baron Black, he's very good. Like, you can't, it's hard to tell how, like, I enjoyed him. I thought he was solid on Dark and Elevation. They've made him, I think he's 0-48 now. He's 0-49. Yeah. So, so I knew from that he was solid. Last month he wrestled Bandito, and it was fantastic. Like, I was like, why are you not showing this Baron Black on TV? Like, what is wrong with you? And then on this last show, he wrestled Jay Lethal. Another wonderful match. And I can't say enough good things about Baron Black. And I hope more people pay attention to him because he's very good. And AEW would be, I know they've got a lot going on, but they would be very smart to develop him more, to let him not be 0-50, to let him like really show what he can do beyond like 4-minute matches. Like, he's very, very good and very solid. I'm very impressed with what I've seen the last 2 months from him. And then the main event was Jonathan Gresham versus Mike Santana for the ROH title, because last month. Oh,
wow. Okay. So the ROH title's making a pass.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They had, yes. Gresham, he wrestled Josh Alexander for it on the last show. And then at the end, Mike Santana shows up, challenges them, so we get it this show. It was an excellent match. I've
never been gladder that they're allowed to book extra matches from just being AEW wrestlers, because like someone like Baron Black, he's at least out, but he can go out there and have those indie matches. And I mean, indie wrestling still contributes to the thing, and I mean, at least Tony's got his ear to the ground,
right?
It seems, or at least have people to have their ears to the ground for him.
Definitely, yeah.
But definitely. I think that it's nice that he's not just sitting somewhere in a room doing nothing. He's able to go wrestle Bandito, which I might go check out.
Yeah, that match was very, very good, and there was a clip from, or I think it was a clip or a GIF, maybe it was both, that was going around from that match, and it was and people were like, Baron Black can do this? Like, why didn't I know that he could do this? And he did it against Bandito? Like that.
Because they have 7 million people on their roster, so they can only put 32 on the live TV shows.
Yeah, and there's like 3 women, but we'll get
and no one's going to sit and watch a 5-hour AEW undercard show.
Yeah.
Dark show.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So
I might have said 7 million might be an exaggeration.
A tiny bit, but we'll just say there's only a fraction of women in those 7 million still.
Oh crap! There's only 25%. We'll talk about that on another show.
We're definitely having a conversation about that comment, but that's definitely,
you can share that video and people can like yell at us about it, and then
I will yell at you back.
And then we can yell, and then we can have a show about it. So that'll be fun
perfect.
Too. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, Jonathan Gresham and Mike Santana were fantastic. It was a very odd ending. The referee messed it up. And some people said that Santana didn't kick out in time, which maybe I can see that too. The ending was really weird. Jonathan Gresham still retained, which obviously was going to happen. But because of that, apparently, because I didn't get to watch the show when it came on Thursday night. I ended up not being able to watch it till last night just because wrestling, there's so much going on. And I actually had to
have a real life.
Yeah, Thursday night I had to do real life things. I had to go attend a birthday party for my 70-year-old aunt. So I had to
whatever.
Yeah. So I had that cut into my Terminus time. But yeah, so the ending, so apparently I saw a tweet where Jordan Grace said, because somebody was like, I can't believe he really fired the referee on live TV. And she was like, yeah, that was weird. And I was like, wait, what? And so I was under the impression that it happened. Well, watching this, doing the thing where you actually watch the show, it was clearly, he was joking. Because somebody did, she cleared it up later. And she was like, that's his childhood best friend. No, he did not fire him. on live TV. And so what it was he jokingly said, should we fire him? And then they got like one fan that was in the front, and they got another fan, and they did paper, rock, scissors. And if one won, the referee would be fired. And then if the other one, they would just run the match back later on. And so the guy who won was technically the referee was supposed to have been fired. I don't know how anybody could have possibly have taken that seriously. It was Jonathan was laughing. The referee was already gone at
Twitter.
This. Yeah.
It's wrestling Twitter.
Yeah.
There's so many things they shouldn't be taking.
Yeah. It was very obvious that it was a joke. And it was very obvious that Jonathan thought it was funny, and that they were already, so there's going to be a rematch at some point.
Right now.
I don't know if it'll be at Terminus. He did announce at the end there will be a Terminus 3. He didn't say when. He didn't give a date yet. They're running it in Atlanta, which is where Gresham and Baron are both from, Atlanta, and so that's why they've been running down there. Especially because Southeastern wrestling has really started to kind of get back into where it was a few years ago. It's making a name for itself. Atlanta is definitely a hotbed of wrestling, and so I think that's probably the perfect place. It's not that far from me, so if I can, at some point, I would love to make it down to Atlanta for a show, because it's just, they've been fantastic, and Jonathan is bringing in, really great talent. And now I'm even more impressed with Baron Black. So I'd love to see him live. So I'll definitely keep watching them. And then hopefully I'll make it down to Atlanta at some point to see it in person, because it's a great show. And I love supporting them and what they're doing. And that type of wrestling is really cool. And so, yeah, I'd love supporting them.
That's awesome. It sounds like a lot of fun. And it's always fun to go. Like, it's like, yay, go to my normal thing, but it's fun to go to another thing, because you still have the wrestling in common. So
yeah,
that always
exactly.
is fun. And the atmospheres are always just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I mean, my local takes place in a Knights of Columbus hall. So it's got a lot of flavor there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So. All right, so we are going to go on to the meat of this thing here, is that we know that we're a little ahead of the game on the Revolution thing, that there's a couple of go-home shows between when we're recording right now and when the Revolution pay-per-view comes up, but that's okay, because we have a Twitter, so you can get our super extra spicy hot takes on our Twitter, and maybe we'll do a space sometime during the week as Tony's big surprises come out that he's teased to every freaking buddy. And I don't know, maybe at the end, if we have some time, we'll guess, but also I mean, we've got so much going on coming up in the Revolution thing here. Yeah. So we're going to run through this card a little bit.
Okay.
Do you want to start with the bottom up, or
we can do the bottom up if you want to.
All right, let's do the bottom up. Let's start with the dog collar match, because let's talk about dog collar match. Is this that's lovely. Hey, look at that. That is a graphic. I'm getting used to this stuff. Don't mind me, folks. I'm hilarious. So all right. So I saw a little bit of chatter, though, that some people think that this may be an erasure of history of a certain person who was the only other person in AEW to do a dog collar match.
I think this was the plan all along. And they mentioned his name. If that were the case, they would not have mentioned his name on air twice. They mentioned Cody Rhodes' name.
All right.
On air.
Voldemort.
Yes,
that's been our joke around the house.
I know that's what they're getting at, but that's
wrestling Voldemort. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think this was the plan all along. I think they had no idea. I mean, most people, from what we're hearing, didn't realize that Cody was on the way out or could be leaving. So I think this was the plan all along. I don't think it's a erasure, especially because if you're doing that, then you're erasing Mr. Brody Lee, and that is not what AEW does. They do not erase him. That is one of my favorite matches AEW has ever had. I actually wrote an article about it a couple of years ago. That was awesome. That was my match of the year. I love the dog collar match. It's one of my favorite ones. So I think to erase Cody would be to erase Mr. Brody Lee, and you can't do that. And AEW would not do that. So I don't think that's what's happening here. I think Twitter is just wants Twitter to just be Twitter. So
So what do you think about this, though? Because one of the greatest, as proclaimed by Mr. Meltzer, there were the greatest promos of all time, potentially. I mean, I mean,
Yeah.
that guy's pretty impressive. But what do you think about this match?
I'm looking forward to it. Like I have to do something different with this, where this feud has gone so far. Like I don't think they could just do another regular match. Like I think this was probably a stipulation match, was probably where it needed to go. I wasn't expecting a dog collar match, but I think it works. Because we've seen MJF, and he's done a lot of the same thing. And that's not a bad thing, but we've never seen him like this. Like I think this is where in MJF, where we're at with him. I think he needs a match like this, like to show what else he's capable of. And I think CM Punk is the person to, even prior to the promo last week, this is the match I think that CM Punk can push MJF to his limit. It's the match that MJF needs to kind of go to the next level to show us what he can do. And I think it's a great match for CM Punk. Like this match seems like something that would fit, especially because they keep going back to the Piper comparisons. Well, MJF does. He keeps going back to the Piper comparisons. So I think, and I really love the "Will You Be My Valentine?" Like I think that was just extremely clever of them. So I'm really looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be, because I figured when originally, before the stipulation was announced, I was trying to figure out how Wardlow was going to cost MJF the match, because I think that's, and I still think it could happen in this setting. I think that because we all know that turn is coming. Wardlow is getting even more over than he's ever been. And then like the whole comments from Sean Spears last week about how the Powerbomb Symphony isn't working. And, he accidentally hit Wardlow's fingers. Like we all see it building, and Revolution is the ideal place for whatever's going to happen. So I think adding the dog collar component kind of throws it off a little bit. So it's not so straightforward that like we can, okay, obviously this is what's going to happen. So I think adding in the dog collar element just changes it up. And I think it's just the next logical step for this feud, especially after the promo that MJF cut on Wednesday, where he just hates CM Punk, and he gave us his villain origin story. But then he still hates Punk, but then he blames, like, it's also been 7 years and you're still blaming, CM Punk for your problems. So like so he's still he's still a jerk. I don't know what language we can use on here.
Let's go with jerk. I love it. He's a very bad boy.
Yeah, the J in MJF stands for jerk. But yeah, so I'm really excited. I think that, and so now that promo just adds a whole other layer to the match, and I think that the match is going to be a lot more violent than we would have previously expected. I think MJF is going to come in with a lot of anger, and like this is the perfect way for him to just let it out on CM Punk, and just like really let him have it. But I think CM Punk is not going to just lay there and take it either. I think he's gonna definitely give MJF as good as he gets.
Are you picking this match, or are you passing?
No, I'll pick it. I think CM Punk's gonna win.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one, because I think it's time for that. And I think you're totally right on the what else can MJF do thing. I think he's a really talented wrestler. He had that technical. One of my favorite matches was him and Moxley doing like strong style technical.
Yeah, that was.
And my favorite part of that match still to this day is he's like, "Yeah, you're getting real wrestling tonight, folks." And I just like that guy was like, "Yeah,
give us what we want." The Batista the meme.
And I love that. I love that they do a lot of stuff, and I think that these are two really creative wrestlers. So I'm very interested to see what they do here.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's go the face of the Revolution ladder match. Is there still a TBA on this one?
Yes,
there
is.
So we've got
Yep.
You want to? Okay, so Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, Orange Cassidy, and TBA. I've heard be like Rocky Romero or something. I'm always down for a Rocky Romero sighting.
Me too. And I know this is going to get just very small, but the match that he had 2 weeks ago with I guess the Young Bucks, that match was phenomenal. It was worth the wait, because it obviously got postponed.
Yeah,
Rocky had COVID and things, so it was definitely worth the wait. And so if you're not really familiar with New Japan, that gives you a taste of what you can see in New Japan. And just that's a feud that's been ongoing for a long time, and they brought it, and it was That was a great match.
Rocky was my key to New Japan. He did my first G1 that I actually sat down and watched for real. I was like 28, I think. And it was him and Kevin Kelly on the mic. And then a few years later, he had that Best of Super Juniors where he had some of the like greatest matches I've ever seen in my life. And he's my boy. I love that guy. I'm so happy to see him when he's on there. I just so happy.
He's phenomenal.
Now, but I mean, it's probably somebody or something else. Maybe it's someone from Inner Circle because there's so much schism going on there.
I'm ready for that to be over. That thing has long ran its course. It should have ended before Stadium Stampede, but it should have really ended, or no, Blood and Guts rather. Well, no, Stadium Stampede came first, and then they did the Blood and Guts. So either of those would have been perfect times to end that, and we're still here, and it's just. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back to this match. What was funny before they put before Ricky Starks won his spot, we thought we were going to get a Haas fight on ladders.
Yeah, like, the Haas fight. I actually, everyone else on the network was so excited about it that they made me excited about it, and I'm a Ricky Starks. I mean, I love Ricky. I love him on the mic. I think he's freaking hilarious.
Yes.
He's like one of my favorite people to love and hate all at the same time. Like Team Taz, love you guys. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But I really was excited about like.
I thought we were getting, and I sent the GIF. I sent it's a screenshot. It's a picture of a meme that I send all the time. But before he was in it, I was like, this ladder match is big meaty men slapping meat. We're getting it. On ladders.
Sometimes you just need trucks running into each other.
Right? And they added ladders to it. What? So I was like, I love Ricky Starks, but I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't 10 because I thought we could just do it all. Just let's have it. But I do love Ricky Starks, so I think he's fantastic. And Orange Cassidy they're gonna have to tell him to climb the ladder again. So I love Orange Cassidy, so I'm really excited to see. And it'll be funny to see Orange Cassidy in there with some big dudes. Orange Cassidy versus Keith Lee. Like, I want to see that.
Yeah, I love watching Keith Lee. I remember the first time someone told me about Keith Lee, they were like, he's like Mark Henry if he could do flips. And I'm just like, that doesn't make sense in my head, but it sounds like the most amazing thing ever. And then it turned out to be true. And I was just like, I love you. And I just
he's wonderful.
He's great. It's great. I
am ready to bask in his
kind of
glory
want him to win, but also I'm like, okay, is someone else debuting? Because there's a bunch of
and it feels like it because that's where Ethan Page debuted, right?
Right.
Oh no, it was a casino. It was a ladder match. I don't know if it was Face of the Revolution, but it was.
But someone did debut there last year, and it's okay. You guys can correct us or whatever. I'm sure,
I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, it seems like the perfect spot to debut somebody.
And there's some people out there, which I think I listed them, but then I forget.
You did. So I think it's definitely a good spot for. I mean, when you think ladders, you think Jeff Hardy.
Oh, that's right. Oh, this is what I couldn't remember. And
you think Matt Hardy. So, but the only thing is, according to Matt, Jeff's non-compete is not up until the 9th, which would be the Dynamite after, which is why I'm wearing the Hardy Boy shirt, because I think Jeff is, this is almost the worst kept secret since CM Punk.
Probably, yeah.
Jeff is on his way. He
literally tweeted it the other day.
Yeah, he confirmed it. He was talking to some interviewer and was like, yeah, I'm on the way to AEW, and then they had to delete it real quick. So it's very obvious that's what's happening.
Leave it up.
Matt is being super obvious about it.
Super obvious. Let me pantomime like 20 things that were the reason that my brother left the previous company.
Right. And then he's talking about getting extreme, and he's doing the hand symbol, the hand gestures and things like that. Yeah. So
I would get at this point, I would get a sign and sit in the front, and it just says, I see what you did there. And just like, and only hold it up when the Hardy family office is out there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I would love to see him there, but unless Matt's just saying that to throw people off and make us think that it's not Jeff, I mean, I'm fine with him coming to Dynamite
Yeah,
after.
I mean, that one is kind of the most, but the Dynamite after might be a better idea.
Yeah, so if it's not him, I could definitely see Swerve being in that spot, especially when you have a guy like Ricky Starks. I think they would have phenomenal matches.
That's some good feuding right there.
Yeah, I think that would be good. And that charisma between both of them, are you kidding me? Just insane.
Maybe he costs him the face, because the person that wins it gets a shot at something, right? The title.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, maybe he costs him maybe Ricky Starks is about to become the face and Swerve costs him or something like that.
Maybe so. Maybe Swerve is coming for the FTW title.
Maybe. There you go. Oh, that could be very interesting.
Yeah, because I know they don't recognize it as a title, but they've had Ricky defend it a few times, and it is more of a symbolic thing. But maybe Swerve is here to mess some things up.
There you go.
So maybe it's him. Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one. We've got TBS Championship, Jade Cargill versus Tay Conti.
I think it'll be, I have been really impressed with Jade. Originally, and I've said it, and I thought Ruby I would have went with Ruby. I understand why they went with Jade, and I was fine with Jade. I think I really like her. She's so charismatic. And like the first time I saw her, I was like, oh, she's a star. Like clearly I knew she needed to put things together. And, somebody I compare her to is Trish Stratus. When Trish first started, she had obviously the athletic ability, but she couldn't quite pull it all together. And then she ended up being one of the best female wrestlers that, WWE ever had. I'm not saying that Jade necessarily will be that, but Jade has come so far in just 28 matches. And then I think pairing her with Daniel Bryan was super smart. You can tell that she seems to pick up very quickly. And so I think, so I really like her. And I think Ty, I was kind of surprised that they just kind of were like, it's Ty. Like there's not really any buildup for it. But, Ty has improved a lot since she has come from WWE. She has the stuff she's been doing, obviously the stuff with Anna Jay, and she's had the street fight and things like that. So I think Ty is a good opponent for Jade, just because I think she has a little bit more experience. And so I think that will be good for Jade to kind of feed off of. I think this match can go, Jade has gotten where she's going. Her matches are generally about 8 minutes. So I think Ty can push her a little bit further. They've been definitely carrying out the storyline on Twitter. They've been talking trash to each other for the last day or so. I've seen some tweets from both of them. So yeah, I was kind of surprised by this, but I think Ty is a good opponent for her. But I think that Jade's probably going to end up being like 100-0 before she loses the title, which I'm fine with.
Well, I think that that's what they're going for with her, and because of the push that they're giving her, which is huge. I think that I'm on the fence with Jade. I think that I get it. And she is beautiful, and she is athletic looking, and her wrestling is not there yet. And I'm not saying that isn't going to come along, but for me, it's like, it's not there for me.
Right.
But again, like she's helping to get the TBS title to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what it takes to get people's eyes on things, like the ladies matches, if that's what someone needs to get ladies matches into people's faces so that more ladies get more opportunities to show that they are wrestlers and all of these things that we'll talk about on a later issue, and there's no denying what she looks like. There's no denying it. She's beautiful. She's athletic. She's 9 fucking feet. Oh, 9 feet tall. Oh, that was my only one. Sorry. But like, I get it.
Yeah.
And that's what this business is about in a lot of ways. And that's fine, because we should have more than one women's title, and we should have it get over.
Yeah.
And I think that this will be good because I think she is improving, and I think you're right. She is at least athletic enough, and at least like like coherent.
It's
like
not
she
like hiring a
understands.
supermodel to like come in and wrestle.
No,
like,
no, no,
she's
no,
got
no,
the
no, no.
athlete.
It's
So
like,
no, I'm
this
just
is
saying.
not like
So
a Stacy Keibler
right,
deal or
exactly.
something.
So I think that the athletic
It's
ability
not that.
definitely
It's
helps
not
her.
that at all. She understands athleticism. She understands training. And so, I
She
mean,
understands her character.
she does now, and she's getting. I mean, it just she is getting there, and that's fine, and it's helping. And at the end of the day, it's like, look at what is it? Are people watching? Yes. Are people doing that? Yes. If that's whatever it takes to get. I always say this about AEW. I don't have to like everything on the card because there's so much on the card.
There's something for everybody.
And there's plenty for me. And I still can sit there and go, all right, what do you think it is that isn't clicking with you or is clicking with you? Or, I mean, in that case, I think that she's like, you want the demographic of women. I think that powerful, confident, that aura, maybe lead with a match with her in it where people go, oh, you know, because, you know, you got that. I know that they talk about the women's lead in with the Big Bang Theory and everything on Wednesday. It's like, well, throw her up on the stream then.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one thing I would
she has a holy crap, like, stop people quality about her that's undeniable, and I just can't take that away.
And I saw a tweet earlier from someone today, and they were like, I have people who don't watch wrestling, but they've seen me post gifs of Jade, or they've seen me post a picture, and they're like, who is that? Like, so she definitely gets that. And I think one thing about that is a positive for her being the very first TBS champion is she gets to define the belt. Like, she doesn't have to live up to. So say Ruby did win the belt first and then Jade wins it. You know, Ruby is she's a phenomenal wrestler. She's one of the best women out there. And so I think you know, if you went from her first and then Jade second, like, that, such a contrast in ability and persona and just everything. So I think, so with Jade being the very first, then Jade can make this title whatever she wants it to be. And, you know, Tony said when it was created that it is equal to the TNT championship. Like, there is no, like, it's not the undercard women's title. And he said it's also equal to the women's championship. So Jade, in AEW's eyes, Jade is on the same level as Britt as far as the champion goes. And I think, and I can see, like, how do you deny somebody like Jade when she's got, and I think she is, like you said, she's putting it together, and I think she's only going to get better with time. Especially now that they've got, and again, having Danielson training her is so smart. And I think Tony was very smart to do that. And it seems, and from, you know, all accounts of everything that, you know, Danielson and others saying, like, she wants to learn, like, she wants to improve. She wants to do, she wants to be a good, like, she wants all of these things. And I think that she's definitely, and it seems like it's coming together. Like, you know, like I said, each match she improves. And so it'll be interesting to see her against somebody like Ty, because Ty is so quick. And I think, you know, the speed thing is there. So I think Ty is actually, I mean, as odd as it seems that they're just kind of randomly putting this match together, I do think Ty is a good opponent for her, because I think that may be probably one of the toughest people they put her in there with. And so I think Ty is a good kind of litmus test to where Jade is at right now.
All right. And I've got Jade for this one, and it sounds like you do too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We're going to definitely go with that. So the next one is the World Tag Team Championship with Jungle.
Jurassic.
Jungle Express.
I do it too.
Hey, why not? Lucha Express
too.
versus Red Dragon and the
we don't
tag team battle royale. Is that like on the
That's
undercard?
The one. No, this is a triple threat match for the title. They're determining the second team this week
that's right. Okay, yeah. See, this is right, guys. Remember, guys, we know there are still go-home shows. You can yell at us about our opinion right now on the Twitter later, and then we'll give you our hot takes as we figure out what Wednesday and Friday bear out, okay? We are aware that we're a little early.
Yeah. So my guess is that the unknown team is going to be the Young Bucks. I think what they're doing is, I don't like that they're using Jurassic Express to get there, but I think this is obviously just setting up more Young Bucks, Red Dragon, because my joke has been for weeks is they're going to do an Adam Cole on a pole match. and then they're gonna have to add in Silver and Reynolds because they have their whole thing with Budge. So it's gonna be that triple threat would make sense to me if it was an Adam Cole and a pole match.
Wow, that's fantastic. Do you think Lucha Express is going to lose the
Jurassic Express?
Lucha Express. What am I doing? I can't get the name right. Do you think Jurassic Express is going to lose?
Yes.
Them?
No,
Yeah.
I think they're going to win. I think.
Okay, good. Okay, because I'd hate to see them drop the belt this.
I don't want them to
fast.
drop the titles this soon. I think if anybody is going to win the titles anytime soon, it's going to be LAX. At least that's my hope that it is. And the fans are super behind LAX right now, and I know they're proud and powerful, but they're still
proud and powerful. But yeah, I know
they're still LAX to me.
I have my moments with things like that.
Yeah. So I do think So this is why I don't like it being a triple threat, because I think they're just putting Jurassic Express just to give them a title match, and then the real goal is Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks, and so they could have got to this without them being there. But I mean, I guess they just needed a title match for Jurassic Express. I think this match will be really good. Like I like the teams. I like all three of them.
All their tag team stuff is almost, I mean, it rarely lets you down.
Exactly. And the Young Bucks always, like, you say what you want about them, whether you're a fan or not, they always bring it out of.
You don't think FTR ends up in there somehow?
I mean, at this rate, I mean, because Bobby Fish cost Dax Harwood the other night. He knocked his leg out from underneath him, and that helped them secure the victory. So FTR could definitely get involved and say maybe there's some shenanigans, and that's how Jurassic Express retains, because FTR takes out Red Dragon, and so they're able to pin, whatever. So I mean, I could definitely see FTR getting involved, just because, especially because they got screwed out, and then depending on what happens on the Go Home show, I definitely could see FTR getting involved at one way or another, even if it's on the Go Home show and then something happens. But yeah, so I think the match will be fun. I don't like that it's a triple threat match. I don't think it's fair to Jurassic Express. The things with Red Dragon and Young Bucks don't concern them, so it's weird to just kind of insert them there.
Them in.
Yeah. So I think it's just, I'm not thrilled about that, but I think it'll be a good match. I think it'll be fun.
Sweet. And then the next one, let's see. I think that the do we know where the Bryan Danielson
I know it's happening, Danielson versus Mox, but I don't know.
We don't have like a set card right now. So
so we know that match is happening.
So we do know this. So I'm going to pop back down to the bottom here and go with that for a little quick, and because then we'll talk about the main event at the end, the two main events with the belts at the end real quick. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
I'm so excited for this match. I think it's amazing. I don't kind of care who wins.
Same.
I mean, there's not a ton to say about this match because, like, it's amazing.
Somebody is going to bleed. They're probably both going to bleed because Mox made it clear. I don't tag with I don't team with anybody who I don't bleed with first. So I think they're both going to bleed, which I'm cool with. That's really all I need from this match.
Oh my God. It's just going to be... Bryan Danielson wrestling right now is one of my favorite things. I'm so glad that it's a thing. It makes me happy to think about every day if I start to feel down, I'm like, but Bryan Danielson's wrestling and Jon Moxley's back in the ring and he's happy and they're going to have this amazing match. I feel bad for whoever has to follow this match. I mean, it's just gonna be. You can't put it last because you need to put your title belts last. But it's
unless they just stack the final three matches where it's like, or they sandwich it between the TNT and I don't know where.
Yeah, you have to be careful. You don't want to wear everybody out.
No, and you're gonna get super
tough. This is again, it's like the same problem they have with their TV is there's so much good.
Yeah, and this match will be one of those ones that because people are going to get super invested, and it's going to be one of those matches where it's almost kind of exhausting after it's over with, just emotionally, and you just need a second to kind of come back down. And I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't care who wins. I kind of think it's going to be Moxley. I have wondered, I was like, well, maybe they just go to time limit, but they've done that with Danielson twice already. So I don't think that don't care if they go, but I know some fans don't. They don't like that. He's already had 2 time limit matches, but I'm like, but one of them was a literal dream match with Kenny Omega. Like, how do you pick a winner? Like that makes so. And I think, and the other one definitely put Hangman in a new light, and then people could see, because some people were like, well, you should just put the title on Danielson. Well, we didn't know he was going to be available at the beginning of AEW. Right. They plotted out their champions. They've been telling the story with Hangman for 2 years. You can't just, rip the rug out from under us. And so, I mean, it's a good problem.
Bryan Danielson can be champion when it's time for him to be champion. Yeah. It's not going to matter. You can put the belt on him tomorrow or next year, and it's not going to matter because I'm going to be just as excited when the time comes.
Exactly. So, yeah, I'm super excited for this match. I don't really know who's going to win it. I do kind of think Mox is going to win just because I guess maybe that will make him team with Danielson, but the whole point is just making him bleeding together.
So, well, I mean, depending on what the outcome is, whether it's like Danielson wins or Mox wins, but then like because it's such a good match, maybe they have that handshake because you can do that here because it's not, it's okay to have that moment where there's like mutual respect, and maybe they do team. I mean, I'm not sure because Mox comes off as like, no, I'm not having.
Yeah, and he was doing stuff, and he was already doing stuff with Eddie Kingston before all of this, and like I don't think that people wanted the sitcom.
I wanted it.
I did too. So I don't want to completely, especially I want to get Eddie away from the Chris Jericho stuff, and I was like, I'm glad I get to see Eddie on pay-per-view again, but I'm not crazy about that storyline. So I would like to see. So I kind of do want to see Mox. I do want to see Mox and Danielson just create a team of violence. Like that would be cool. But I also want to see Mox with Eddie, where he's just having a good time and they're just laughing and getting on each other's nerves. So I can kind of see Mox can fit. And that's the thing about Mox. He can fit in. And it's so funny. He can fit in anywhere, but he can also just be himself and do his own thing.
And and it's not going to matter how the outcome. I mean, again, we was like right at the top of this entire thing. It's like, it doesn't really matter, but I'm a big Mox fan.
Yeah, me too.
But Bryan Danielson, he hasn't lost yet, right? Still?
Well, no, he lost the Hangman.
Oh, that's right. He did.
Yeah, because I thought the same thing.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, I thought the same thing this morning, that he was still undefeated. And I was like, no, that's a lie. No, he lost to Danielson.
No. That was one of the best matches.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so good that I forgot the ending. So
so great. That's okay. There's a lot going on. And then, so let's segue to Eddie and Chris Jericho because you said his name.
Yeah,
and
I forgot. Yeah, I was like, I even forgot this was a match on the card until it came out of my mouth.
I know, and right. I think that's not like. It's probably because it does feel a little rushed and a little weird, and I think that the stuff pointless. I think that people are tapped out on where the inner circle is at the moment.
Yeah,
and that's okay. And this might be exactly what we need. Like we might need Eddie beating Jericho as exactly what we need to sort of go to phase next of because that'll be a big. I mean, Jericho is gonna give it to, like, he's gonna bring it and he's gonna have a great match, and maybe it's time for, Chris Jericho can come back and be Le Champion anytime too. He's another one. Like, there's some main guys that they have that are just, it's like, if we need to put the belt on this guy for a few months or it's fine. Like, we have these guys that are there, and that's exactly what they're there for in a lot, like, especially someone like Jericho.
Right.
I feel like maybe this is the indie look like a jobber guy. Oh, I look like a jobber now while I'm like kicking your ass. I mean, and maybe that's exactly the kind of match. I hope that it's something like that.
Yeah, I hope so too. Like I said, I'm glad that Eddie's getting a pay-per-view match out of it. It's not really a match that we necessarily need. Even Eddie, which I'll bring this up probably in the other conversation later, but I mean, even Eddie said this segment could have been a women's match. He was like, this segment doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why we're here.
That's right. I saw him tweet that.
Go get Willow, and then he was like, "This could have been Statlander
or Willow and
Nightingale." Yeah. So, and I have to agree with him. That could have been a women's match. But yeah, so I don't want to say this is a throwaway match because both of the men in it are very good at what they do. So it's not that, it's just a match that I don't necessarily have any, not that I don't want to say I don't care about it, because I love Eddie and I want him to win. It's just, it's not, if this match had been left off the card, it would have been okay.
It's not something that you would have remembered or missed.
Yeah.
Fair
exactly.
enough. I mean, that's
and
okay,
that's not the fault of either men. It's just, it's not a story I'm interested in.
And let's see. So we've got the buy-in matches I'm not too bothered with, because those are usually like changed about 100 times.
Yeah.
We have the Hardy Family Office and Darby Allin Sting.
Oh yeah, the trios match.
Yeah.
There it is. The tornado
there
trios.
It is. That's the thing. I'm not sure. God, Sting's going, so he's just been so awesome, and I'm totally fine with that. And I love like Sammy's great. That'll be a fun match. I hope that. I mean, there's not much to say about it, because I don't think that it's gonna be.
No, it is gonna be a bunch of just crazy things, because it's got Darby in it. So
but I enjoy all of these people.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm happy to have this match, but it's probably going to be the ones that I'm like, it's on and I'm enjoying it, but I might be getting a slice of pizza or whatever.
That might be a match also. That might be something that would be good after like Mox and Danielson, to kind of like bring the energy level back a great point.
Bit. There you go.
Kind of like, it's a good match. It's a solid match. It'll be fun. There's going to be crazy spots in it, but it will let us kind of come back down from the high of watching Mox and, and
whatever they decide.
Yeah. So I think something like that would be a great, to kind of keep the crowd and keep the crowd invested, but just let them kind of relax a little bit
and not feel like, oh my God, I'm missing valuable storyline.
Right.
So we have 2 matches left. Let's get to those last 2 matches. And let's start with the women's match, and then we'll do the main event. But the women's match, so Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa for the women's title.
Yay.
I've got Thunder Rosa on this one.
Me too.
So many things have been making me feel as though this is like, first of all, I have to say this. I'm a huge Thunder Rosa fan. I love her so much.
I am too.
I have not Patreoned her yet, because I can't Patreon everyone, but
right now
we sat here one day and started watching Taco Blog and couldn't stop. And
I haven't checked that out yet, but
oh my gosh, don't.
Because I watched some
other stuff. It's addicting, and it makes you want to eat tacos
so bad. I'm sure it does. Yeah, that's probably a good thing I haven't watched it yet, because right now I'm stick with BTE and the Sammy blog. But
love the BTE. I don't watch the Sammy blog.
I ended up I don't even remember how I watched it. I think I watched it because somebody was going to be on there, and I started watching like a year or so ago, but it's developed into its own little thing. And so like, that's where I got to see Fuego, and like, I really started to like root for him. And it's got, and so it's been fun. I enjoy it. I like what they do with it. And it's turned into this whole thing. And now they've got like Griff Garrison's on there, and Alan Angels is on there. And sometimes they annoy Taz.
Nice.
Things like that. And they annoy Dean Malenko sometimes too.
I like annoyed dad Taz would be like,
he gets super annoyed because Sammy wore orange and black once, and that did not go over well. And he was like,
that was one of my favorite people.
Yeah, so it's really good. So he's not on there a lot, but he's on there some, and it's always entertaining. And Dean Malenko will be on there sometime. Like, he's basically just passing through, but looking like, why are you doing this? Like, why is this a thing? Kind of like Bryan Danielson, who doesn't understand vlogs.
I love shades of the fickle Bryan Danielson. That is my favorite. I love that.
He's just mad that it's not tout.
Every time he gets like that, I'm like, oh, fickle. I'm like, I love you. You're so amazing. Just keep doing that. No, it's basically the same thing happened to me with the Taco Blog. It's like, we were sitting here, we were not feeling well. It was like, this popped up because of BTE, because you watched this.
Yeah,
and the next thing we knew, it was like, and she had like Jim McFoley on, I think was the thing that got it. And it's just like, well, here's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers talking to one of my favorite current wrestlers while they eat tacos. So
right. So yeah, it's a great premise.
I think it's time. I think Britt's had the belt for a long time. She's put a lot of people over.
She's main evented like 5. I want to say 5 times now.
Yeah, she's really great, and she's been like she's very. I love that she is all the things. She's like a wrestler and a real dentist, and she really sees it. Then it's like it's like, but I mean, you want to talk about like tough girls, like she's the girl. She's done a really good thing. I feel like she's done her part to make the women's division legitimate, and I'm glad that she worked her butt off and did all those things. But I think they even just signed Thunder Rosa to a pretty long deal.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think.
And it might be I don't know, something in I'm not usually like gut person, but I don't know.
Yeah.
This is Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I felt like this is kind of where it's leading. I wish it was going to happen clean, but I know it's not. I think what's going to happen is
you're probably right.
Jamie is finally going to turn on Britt, and she's going to cost her the title because Jamie has never done, like they pointed out that she never does the DMD thing. She like every time they talk to her, she never does it. She's always, or sometimes she's kind of aloof. She's mad that they hired Mercedes, that she's like bankrolling her to do because she doesn't think that Jamie is capable of taking out Thunder Rosa and has brought in another woman to do that job for her. I think just everything, the little things are adding up. And I think so. I mean, maybe we do get both a Wardlow and a Jamie turn on this show.
Hey, yeah. So, I think that you could see Wardlow on this show, but something tells me it might be
that it's a dog collar. Yeah, it may be coming. Maybe it may be something like a few weeks later.
He wants, or somehow MJF wants him to cheat somehow in this dog collar match. That makes sense. And this is the day, but maybe, I mean, like you said, we were saying like Jeff Hardy, maybe the Dynamite after, or maybe this week. I don't know, but you don't want to do too much. They've got a lot of premieres. Like, maybe it's not quite. They're gonna have to pay it off soon. I think that people are starting to get annoyed.
Well, and it was kind of like the Hangman thing. Like they were kind of like, when is Hangman finally gonna so I don't think they want to do that again. But there is so much going on. But then again, I mean, you look at All Out and they debuted 4 people. So maybe they do 2 turns this time. But yeah, so I have a feeling Jamie's gonna get involved. But regardless, I think it's Thunder Rosa's time. I'm ready for it to be Thunder Rosa. I'm glad it's happening on Revolution, but if they weren't gonna do it at Revolution, then my next thing was I wanted them to do a rematch on the St. Patrick's Day show, and because that's where Thunder Rosa beat her, and it didn't count because it was unsanctioned. So I wanted it to be a sanctioned match this time, and Thunder Rosa would go over. But I think it's just happening at Revolution now. That's going to be awesome. And I'm ready for Thunder Rosa to be the champion. And again, that's not to take anything away from Britt. I just, and when it was funny because like you can hear the crowds are super into Thunder Rosa when she comes out, but I was at Battle of the Belts. And because it was here in Charlotte, and Thunder Rosa is super over. Like it's loud when she comes out, but then Britt came out and people were super into her too. And I was like, well, maybe Britt hangs on a little bit longer than women. So I was just glad though. The crowd really seems to be into both women, which is very exciting because it's not something where they, because even I went to Double or Nothing last year and they were both, the crowd was in the women's matches. They were super into the women. It was very loud when they came out. They stayed in it chanting the whole time. So I do feel like there's a difference in the way that the fans seem to react in person to the women. And so I'm really glad about that. So I think whatever they do in this match, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be fun. I think the crowd will be super into it, but I think it's time for Thunder Rosa. And I think most of the crowd will be happy with that.
I'm excited for this. Is one I am looking forward to. It's time for the main event.
Sorry, Mark Henry.
Yeah, right. No, I totally slaughtered that. It was terrible. That's why he gets paid the big.
Oh no, I just meant sorry. We stole your line, Mark Henry.
No. Oh come on, it's right.
No, I really did. I'm like, we're just stealing your line on TV. It's time.
I am totally stealing.
No.
All right, so we got Hangman Page versus Adam Cole, the Battle of the Atoms.
Mm-hmm. Sounds weird.
I mean,
yeah, I thought I do like them. Like, I think it'll be a good match. It seems like it was kind of a weird way to get here. It seems like, and I'm glad Hangman has had kind of a weird run so far. Like he's had the stuff with Danielson, but then he just has Lance Archer. Like that match was fantastic. Like we were talking about, I was like, I know Lance Archer has done like 5 Texas Death matches in AEW, but they've all been really. And then of course, and then he did the one in New Japan right before he left New Japan to come to AEW. He had one with Mox,
right?
And that was really good. So I was like, I mean, I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like I enjoy his Texas Death matches. I'm like, I've seen this 3 times already, but I don't care. I'll see it again, this time with Hangman. And I think it puts Hangman again on another level where that shows that Hangman can do these very versatile. Yeah, and he can do so I get what they're doing with it. And I know like they are kind of going back to the Ring of Honor stuff with Adam and how with the Adams and how they were, roommates, I think is one of the things. And so like it feels kind of rushed. I think it'll be a good match. I think Adam Cole will eventually be champion one day. I think might be a year or 2 out from that. But I think it'll happen. So I think it's a good match. It just seems kind of like, it seems like they mapped out the other champions a little bit better as far as like their defenses go, like with Jericho and Kenny and Moxley. Like it seems like they kind of, and it just kind of with Hangman, they just put him in match. Like they did not, I don't want to say random matches, but they don't seem to have like a reason or a story behind them. And I know that's what they're trying to get at with Adam Cole here, and going back to their old relationship. But this has been a 2 or 3 week story. It's not been a very, so I think that kind of hurts it a little bit. I think the match will be really good. It's kind of odd that it's a title shot this soon, but I don't know who else you put Hangman in a title match with right now either. So it seems like it's just kind of a match that they're just like, this will be good. The fans will enjoy it. So that's kind of where they're going with it.
It feels like a match, even though it's a main event, and I'm not always for this, but it feels like a match where there might be some story development necessary. Like I'm not saying that that's a good or bad reason to put a thing at the top, but there might be, because they do now have all of these, they've got Undisputed, Red Dragon, whatever.
Right.
And they've got, Kenny will come back eventually.
Yeah.
You could see Adam Cole end up with Dark Order.
And we could even say Jay White is involved here now.
Right. Like that could happen. You could see like the Elite go back to being BFF.
Yeah. So I think
as Kenny is building
up.
And
so there are a lot of branches here. It just seems like we kind of got to it fast, but maybe like you said, it's just the matches to get the vehicle to get us to the next part of the story.
And I think that Double or Nothing is going to be so big, being back in Vegas for the first time and being on a holiday and be Double or Nothing. It's Double or Nothing.
Right.
I think that I'm not saying they skimped on this show because that's silly. Like
no, it's
Jon
stacked.
Moxley and Bryan Danielson.
Yes, it's a stacked card.
But it's great. And they'll probably add more. And God only knows what the big announcements are this week.
Right.
But at the same time, I think because of that, I think it feels like they gave themselves a little bit of extra like leeway on it.
Yeah.
We're gonna bowl with the bumpers in a little, and it's okay. And also it's like, I'm one of the people, I'm here to say it. Like they have so much equity with me. I bought every single pay-per-view. I watched their extra stuff. I'm on the YouTube channel. Like I'm bought in. You have the equity with me.
Right. And they have very rarely, I don't want to say let us down, I guess would be the term, or done things that I'm not crazy about. Like they have built up the goodwill where other companies have not. Or how I know, like I don't give that other company the benefit of the doubt anymore because I just assume it's going to be this or they don't know if they're going to drop the ball or it's good right now. So I think AEW has done a very good job and so that's why I'm fine with this match because I think it's going to be a good match regardless. And I think, should it be a title match this soon? I don't know. But I get what they're doing, and
but it can't not be either, and that's the bigger thing. I think,
is
that it can't not be because, like,
right. But this seems like assuming that because they generally will put on their world championship matches and the main event. Like, I would almost rather see Thunder Rosa and Britt close out because they were the first to main event a Dynamite. I would like to see the next part of their story be them main eventing a pay-per-view, and it's time for the women to main event a pay-per-view. And I think
That's
their story is better. It's not better. Their story's been this is a story they've been telling for almost a year now. So I think, so from just that perspective, well, multiple perspectives, I would like to see that, but I assume that Hangman will probably be the main event. And so that's another reason why I guess it could work as a main event, is if they're going to add in the next stuff, like, is Jay White going to be involved, or something going to happen with the Bucks or Red Dragon, or the Bucks and whatever happens in their tag match? Is it going to be something that spills over later on in the night? Because we saw, that's kind of how they did with All Out. That's how they brought in Danielson and Cole. And so are they kind of going to do this here, assuming that's the match that main event's the thing? Even though
I guess they have an opportunity right now, because maybe we're all like, I don't know, Revolution. It is stacked, but is it the time for them to actually try?
Maybe this is where Johnny Gargano comes in.
Oh man.
I think he kept saying, he was going to wait for Baby Wrestling to get here, and he wasn't really going to sign until until that happened. And, I know his Baby Wrestling has only been here for like 2 weeks. So by
5 seconds. Yeah.
By the time the pay-per-view rolls around, it's only 3 weeks. And, that just happened with Kyle O'Reilly. And that's why he was off TV for a few weeks, is because he's been at home with his newborn. And so I don't know if, Johnny comes in this quickly, or if he still takes some time to be a dad. And so maybe they push him out a little bit more. Because
Something Like Nothing is a huge show.
Yeah. So, and that's in May. And so that's
that's a couple months away.
Yeah, so he could come anytime between there. I assume he's coming. He obviously could end up anywhere, but all his friends are in AEW, so he just seems like the next natural person to come. Maybe he winds up in New Japan, which I wouldn't be mad at either. But
that'd be great. There's so many of the people here that I hope that sometime soon we get to like open up borders, and some people from AEW and some other foreign talent get to head back to G1. And
I really just want to see Bryan Danielson in the G1, and I also really, really want to see Samoa Joe in the G1.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I really like to see him there. So I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he shows up at AEW. I don't know. Maybe he comes help CM Punk. I don't know. Because he asked in that promo, if Samoa Joe was in the country.
Oh, that's right. That's when he tweeted,
or maybe he tweeted.
That's right.
Yes, because
that's
he tweeted
hilarious. I don't like to live tweet those things, because I like to be watching, but every once in a while there's some funny stuff that happens as a part of it.
Was perfect, because CM Punk doesn't usually live tweet anything.
No, right.
So it's funny to see him using Twitter, and so Danhausen was like, next time call me. And he's like, I didn't see your tweet in time.
Oh, the Dan.
But yeah, so I don't know, maybe I think that'll be a good match. Is it championship? Yeah.
And that's everything, right? I get everything.
Yeah, unless because we talked about we had some ideas, I guess, of what could be on the buy-in, but we don't know, because I'm sure by Rampage we're gonna know what the buy-in matches will be. Because I'm sure Tony's announcement is probably gonna overshadow everything on Wednesday.
I'm sure.
So that might be a Rampage. That might be a Rampage announcement, is who's on the buy-in. And
they even changed on the last show. I think they changed the buy-in even that morning. So
that's true. They did. Yeah. So I have a feeling I know which 2 matches it will be. I think it will be 2 matches, and I think it's pretty obvious what matches there will be. But especially if you watch Rampage on Friday, then we kind of see where that match came in. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a great show. Their pay-per-views always deliver. And this isn't even like their big pay-per-view. It's and it's still, the card is stacked. We're getting
I'm going through it going, I want to see all of this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, take my money. I will give it to you.
I'm going to sign up right when I get off here. I'm going to preset my DVR.
Yeah. Because it's crazy. We're only a week away.
So, all right. So I think we're going to wrap up the show for this time. Yeah. And we will have a post Revolution sometime in the future. And if you look right there on that's so much more convenient than me trying to shout them out as theirs. right there on the bottom, there's all of our information on social media, and that's where you can find us. And we did set up a tweeter for both of us that we can both talk to you from. So
yeah, and we'll probably be retweeting gifs of Okada,
right? Suplexes, destroyers, all the things we've talked about.
Yep.
And then like we talked about,
tag us. We'll probably retweet them.
We talked about giving our takes on things. So the Go Home Dynamite, the Go Home Rampage, the buy-in.
Yeah. We might even hop on a Spaces after Revolution to give our very quick hot takes.
Yeah. Our post-game, oh my gods.
The thing that I can't wait for the next show that we got to talk about right this minute. We might hop on there to talk about that.
Which thing?
Just Revolution, like, because
you're saying if there's something that needs immediate attention,
like if Jeff Hardy shows up, or Johnny Gargano.
She has to be on there and just be like, "See, I told you so. I told you. You heard it here
predicted.
First. We pre-predicted it. Okay, we pre-previewed the show before anybody else. We got to it first.
Yeah. See,
actually, I think you know what I've been telling this all wrong. We were the first people to preview this stuff, okay?
Yeah,
we did it before.
Yeah. See, we're on top of it.
Cool. Before it was cool.
Yeah. Then you can come on Twitter and be like, "See, Power Bombshells told us."
Exactly. That's it. I love it. That's a perfect place to wrap things up. Sam, do you have anything to tell the people before we get out of here?
No, just thank you for watching. We hope that you enjoyed it. We definitely plan to do more of these things. Hopefully it will become more of a regular thing once we kind of get the feel of the land. And if there's, if you like the getting to know you stuff, if you got questions you want us to ask each other, we are open to those. And so just we'll keep an eye on this space. Definitely come interact with us on Twitter. We'll be here, and we definitely look forward to talking to you again.
Yes, and this has been awesome. Thank you guys for checking us out. Just like Sam said, all the stuff is right there. We are right here. Check out all the stuff on Fight Game Media because I love it. I'm not just a streamer here. I'm also a ridiculously happy patron. And so this has been the Power Bombshells cast and show, and we will talk to you guys the next time.
Bye.